to see a beefed up police presence in the downtown this weekend.
We want to be very clear. We will not tolerate any intimidation, any harassment, or any hate-motivated behavior.
Police lay out their plans to handle large-scale demonstrations planned for the weekend in reaction to the ongoing war in the Middle East.
Could put that money towards other infrastructure in the city and some social services as desperately needed.
Plus, reversing course on paying for Toronto highways. What sources are telling us about the Ford government's openness to picking up the tab for the Gardiner and the DVP.
The biggest threats for the chorus frog are habitat loss.
And the little frog that could wind up being a big roadblock for Doug Ford's plans to build Highway 413. Good evening, I'm Chris Glover. We're beginning this Friday with yet another night of large-scale demonstrations taking place in our region, including a massive one in Toronto at Bloor and Yonge, and another at Mississauga's Celebration Square. Many took to the streets tonight after learning of a near-total blackout of internet and cell service in Gaza. And while they were quick to demonstrate tonight, police say they're anticipating large-scale demonstrations throughout the weekend as well, and officers say they are ready for them. Anam Khan has our top story tonight.
Mona Aish marched in Mississauga's downtown tonight, terrified for her family back in Gaza, especially today after not being able to get in touch with relatives back home.
We found out that Israel cut all kind of connections on Gaza people. The internet, we cannot call them. There is no TV, there is no electricity.
They had planned to rally this weekend, but when they learned international media reports that there had been a near-total blackout of internet and cell services in Gaza, they flooded the streets tonight too.
They have cut off every supply. Food, water. Palestine has no remaining water or food. How is Palestine supposed to live?
3 of my cousins, 3 sisters, died today. And last week, a whole family, our cousins also, in Gaza, they all died in their home.
The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 7,300 Palestinians have been killed since the Hamas attack on October 7th. The Israeli government says 1,400 Israelis have been killed since then. As a result of the bloodshed, people on both sides of the conflict say they will be demonstrating this weekend. And police services across the GTA say they'll be increasing their presence in downtowns across the region.
We want to be very clear. We will not tolerate any intimidation, any harassment, or any hate-motivated behavior aimed at specific communities in our city.
The increased police presence is being embraced by some. A statement tonight from the Jewish organization B'nai B'rith says, "Our community would welcome an increased police presence and zero tolerance for hate-related incidents." But others like Anna Lipman with the group Independent Jewish Voices Canada says an increased police presence only adds a climate of fear when the protests have generally been so peaceful.
I haven't seen a single instance of any sort of hate at any of the Palestinian rallies that I've been at. In fact, being visibly Jewish there, I've been hugged, I've been thanked, which is not the narrative that we're getting from the police or from our city councilors.
Back at tonight's pro-Palestinian rally in Mississauga, Aish agrees the rallies will be peaceful.
We are not against anyone. We are here out for our Palestinian people.
And she says they will continue to take to the streets until a ceasefire in the Middle East. Anam Khan, CBC News, Toronto.
As part of Hamas's surprise attack on Israel on October 7th, more than 220 Israelis were taken hostage. While a few of them have been released, most are still being held by Hamas, and members of Toronto's Jewish community have set up a Shabbat table for those still missing. Dale Manukduk has that part of our coverage tonight.
This table is set for 224, but no one will sit. Instead, photos of those assumed to be taken hostage by Hamas serve as the centerpieces. Missing are people's loved ones, including many children.
I'm a mother. I'm thinking about the Shabbat dinner that I'm going to have with my family tonight, and I'm thinking about 224 people held in captivity who should be home with their families tonight.
The installation was set up after others popped up in major cities around the world, including New York, Rome, and Tel Aviv.
Seeing it in person and seeing the visual of the table, seeing the high chairs, seeing the bottles, seeing the faces, I think just makes it that much more human and that much more impactful. And you see how many people have been taken.
The campaign follows other global efforts to raise awareness for the hostages, including kidnap posters that have also been posted in Toronto. Last night in Jerusalem, candles lit the night. Tears from people who believed their loved ones were taken.
My brother, Elia Cohen, is kidnapped from the party in the 7th of October, and we really miss him. We want them back. We just want them back.
Earlier this week, Hamas released 2 elderly Israeli women.
She was hit by sticks.
One described the spider-like web tunnel system she was moved around and the physical torture she endured. The Canadian government has not said how many Canadians are being held. Global Affairs says at least 2 Canadians are still missing since the October 7th attack.
I was involved in 125 of these situations.
Gar Party is a former Canadian ambassador for foreign affairs. He says officials should be telling the Israeli government,
do not be taking action here that's going to make the dangers that these hostages are encountering even more difficult. I would think that is the basic message. And the second message would be if there's anything that we can do to be of assistance here, then we're willing to assist.
How these Jewish Torontonians are choosing to help is by keeping the table ready until the hostages are released. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Some breaking news now on a story we've been following all week. Officials in Maine saying tonight the suspect in Wednesday's shooting rampage has been found dead. Robert Card is alleged to have opened fire in a bowling alley and a bar on Wednesday night. The mass shootings left 18 people dead and 13 others wounded. The 48-hour search for Card now coming to an end. An unnamed law enforcement official told the Associated Press the 40-year-old was found dead. He reportedly died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Records show Card was a military reservist and had a history of mental health issues. Back in Toronto, some major news today about the potential future of the Gardiner and the DVP. A senior source with the province confirms to CBC Toronto tonight that the Ford government is open to picking up the tab for the 2 in-town highways. That openness would be a big reversal for Doug Ford, said to be coming out of the ongoing working group between the province and the city, trying to hammer out a new financial arrangement for Toronto. Lorenda Redekop has that story.
A provincial source confirms the Ontario government is open to taking on the costs of the Don Valley Parkway and Gardiner Expressway. They cost the city $16 million a year in maintenance. Plus, the Gardiner needs rehabilitation work of $2 billion over 10 years. However, the source says talks in a working group are still in the early stages, but that everything is on the table. It's a big switch from Premier Doug Ford's position a few months ago during the mayoral race. The Toronto Star first reported this softened position. CBC Toronto already confirmed earlier this month that a working group between the city and the province is looking at this. Mayor Chow had campaigned on tearing down part of the Gardiner. It comes as the city has a $1 billion budget hole. Some councillors are relieved at the possibility.
My apologies for all those technical issues. We'll try to focus on what's going on with that, and we'll get that story again if we can. But another highway today caught a lot of attention, one that hasn't even been built yet. Endangered chorus frogs have been found where the Ford government is proposing to build Highway 413 north of Toronto. As a result, environmental groups are pushing the federal government to intervene. Ali Chiasson explains the potential roadblock.
They have a really unique sound, and what it often is compared to is if you have a comb and you run your finger across all of the spikes on the comb, that's what their call resembles.
The western chorus frog has a brown, stripy pattern.
The largest would be like 4 centimeters in length. So like, yeah, we're talking just like a tiny little amphibian.
They're small, but could prove mighty in the fight against the proposed Highway 413.
So the biggest threats for the chorus frog are habitat loss and habitat fragmentation.
The highway would run right through wetlands where they and other endangered species live. Environmental groups have been pushing the federal government to intervene on the project. But recently, the Supreme Court ruled that the federal government's Impact Assessment Act would double up on the environmental assessments already conducted by the province, and it would be unconstitutional for the feds to designate a project as needing a federal review when it may not have the jurisdiction.
We're pleased that the court made this decision, but more needs to be done.
Ontario's Attorney General Doug Downey says they're holding them to that.
Today, Ontario is taking immediate legal action to clarify that the Federal Impact Assessment Act does not stand in the way of our province's many critical infrastructure projects.
But there is another route to take.
There's a bunch of environmental matters that do have federal jurisdiction. Endangered species is one of them.
The chorus frog happens to be a federally listed endangered species. The group Environmental Defense says when it comes to protecting them, the feds need to hop to it.
And if we don't have federal review, there would be tons of projects that are getting no review at all.
The federal government could mandate that the province minimizes the impact on endangered species that live in the path of Highway 413, like they did when they stopped a development in Longueuil, Quebec.
The scary part is the rate at which it's happening and the quantity, which is completely unnatural and human-driven.
They could also impose fines on developers who break the rules. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, looking live at the skyline tonight. It is 20 degrees, and you are reading that right, even at this very late hour, 20 degrees. And I'll remind you, it is the end of October, and there's also a really good chance of rain in the forecast tonight. Matt Hamill is here with a first look at the forecast. Hey there, Matt.
Well, this weekend, some on and off showers in southern Ontario, but the big storyline is the dramatic cool down. Now, single-digit temperatures will be well locked in by the time we get to Tuesday for Halloween. Daytime highs of 6 for Toronto, 5 for Windsor, and even cooler temperatures as we head into those evening hours for trick-or-treating. Let's track how we get all this cooler weather considering the record-breaking temperatures we saw to finish off the work week. Colder air expanding across the country, bringing with it much cooler weather. Now, overnight, we're still dealing with some pretty warm temperatures kind of spilling over from Friday, but also some energy to support. You see there, maybe some lightning, some rumbles of thunder. Heading into our Saturday, a pretty significant cool down. Still above seasonal temperatures, though. Mainly sunny skies for Toronto. Maybe some showers early in the day and late on our Saturday. Here's a look at our Sunday. This is the beginning of the much cooler weather. Also some showers on and off throughout the weekend. We'll be talking more about this later in the program, but maybe 5 to 10 millimeters for cities like Toronto.
Yeah, the temperatures are certainly set to tumble. All right, thanks, Matt. We'll check in with you again in just a few minutes. But now I want to take you to Thornhill, where residents are making the opening of a new childcare center in their community.
I want to thank the great partnership in Markham as we create affordable childcare finally for families in this province.
It's really nice to have a center that's so close to home and that's affordable.
The new center is a collaboration between the York Catholic District School Board and Upper Canada Childcare in the Bayview and John Street area. It's going to accommodate 49 children who'll be supervised by 13 staff members. And officials say there is a growing demand for preschool spaces right across York Region. The center is using a portion of what the school board says was an underutilized elementary. Hi there, welcome back. We learned this week the Bank of Canada is holding interest rates steady for now, but anxiety is increasing for many in the home building industry. Volatile construction costs for raw material and labor, coupled with already high interest rates, means some new projects just aren't financially viable anymore. And insiders tell us Ontario faces a tough road ahead toward its goal of building 1.5 million new homes. Farah Morelli breaks it down for us.
We have to build a lot of housing.
We have to continue making sure that we have affordable, attainable, nonprofit homes being built.
We need to build homes.
We've heard the message loud and clear from politicians at all levels. We need more housing supply, and we need it fast. But behind the scenes, industry experts say it's not that simple. Why? Because building new projects is becoming riskier. Let's break down why. The first thing is construction costs. Remember all those supply chain shortages you heard about during COVID? Well, it turns out the costs of labor and raw material for construction are still pretty unpredictable.
I think volatile is the right word. One cannot predict with any certainty from the time you go to sell a condo or a home, what the price of the unit will be when you actually put shovels in the ground and start sourcing and pricing that material.
The second thing, and this is the biggie, is interest rates. This week, the Bank of Canada announced it's holding its benchmark interest rate steady. But since 2022, there have been 10 rate hikes. That's had a huge impact on the loans that builders need to take out to start a project.
All builders who have loans are generally almost exclusively on a floating rate. They'll be at a prime +2, prime +3. So they went from 2.25 to +2 to what is it now? 7.25 +2. So the cost, the financing costs went up. So you had a huge impact on the cost side.
The construction loans are multi-million, tens of $1 million of loans. As interest rates go up, the cost for building goes up, which has a challenge on the industry to deliver housing because the financial models just aren't working at these high interest rates. So I'm concerned about people sitting on the sidelines.
And there's not just concern about builders moving to the sidelines when interest rates are this high, it's buyers too. And developers need those sales to move forward.
In the next few years, there's going to be a gap because the sales have been down, which means construction will be down, which means the supply of housing over the next few years will drop.
You're in a situation where that has a huge impact on your bottom line. It has a huge impact on one's pro forma. And some projects may have to take a pause. Some projects may cancel, some projects may relaunch, and that's always a fear.
We know the federal government recently waived the HST on the construction of rental housing projects. It's also offering low interest and forgivable loans to build new affordable housing. These are measures that are being welcomed, but what many in the industry say they are looking for is a sense of stability, in a sense. The Bank of Canada has warned that more interest hikes are still possible, and with that sense of stability could still be a long ways off. Farah Morelli, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, so we have a cool down coming our way after such warm temperatures this week. Matt Hamill is back with the full long-range forecast. Matt, over to you.
Remarkable warmth. That's what we finished off the work week with. For Windsor, 24.1 degrees the Friday high. That was the warmest temperature in the country, breaking the daytime record for October 27th. Toronto, not quite that warm, but still, look at these overnight temperatures for our Friday night into Saturday. These are warmer than what we would typically see for daytime highs this time of year. Also see that chance of some lightning and rumbles of thunder in parts of southern Ontario. Not so much for Windsor or the GTA. Now, colder temperatures are on the way. We have to wave goodbye to those 20-degree days for the next little while as we're seeing some very chilly conditions pushing in. It's also for this weekend a little bit wet. We have some showers on and off. Now, our Saturday afternoon is actually looking pretty good, but late on our Friday, the showers pushing in. Should be quite dry for the majority of Saturday, but late in the day into Sunday, more showers pushing in, impacting areas like Windsor. The GTA also expecting a bit of showers to finish off the weekend. Then even heading into Monday, possibly some more active weather. And then we see those blues, that mixed precipitation, that snow getting a little uncomfortably close here as we head into next week with those much cooler temperatures on the way. Here's a look at our Saturday. You'll notice no 20-degree temperatures on the map. And then as we get even later into our Sunday, single-digit highs to go along with some of those showers we're seeing finishing up the weekend. Now, looking at our 7-day forecast for Windsor, we see maybe some showers on Saturday, but generally sunshine poking through. Sunday, though, much more cloudy, and yes, a single-digit high of 9 degrees and some showers expected. Maybe some showers even spilling over into Monday. But look at these daytime highs into the week. Tuesday, trick-or-treating, not the greatest temperature. 5 is the daytime high, dropping down below freezing overnight. And again, a little bit improvement in temperatures heading later into the week. For Toronto, a similar pattern here. Single-digit high for Sunday, maybe some more clouds and showers to start off the work week. Tuesday, trick-or-treating, 6 is the high. Not going to go below freezing overnight, but still just 2 degrees. So some much cooler weather on the way.
Thanks, Matt. Happy Halloween and have a great weekend. Welcome back. Poppies have a lot of meaning for many Canadians, and with Remembrance Day coming up soon, students from Davisville Public School joined veterans today to officially launch the annual TTC Poppy campaign.
Not enough publicity given these days to the sacrifices that people have made over the years. The ultimate sacrifice, they gave their life to defend freedom, and I think the children should really know about that.
Members of the Toronto Royal Canadian Legion helped pin poppies on students to educate them about what the poppy symbolizes. Donations collected during the campaign will go to support veterans and their families. Now, on Remembrance Day, the TTC will pause all service for 2 minutes at 11 a.m. to honor those who have died in service of the country. Finally, tonight we wanted to show you a unique Halloween display in Copenhagen. Visitors of an iconic park greeted by eerie orange lighting. Spooky decorations include 20,000 crackling pumpkins. There are witches, ghosts, and shadows of bats projected onto the park's roller coaster, and it took more than 20 workers to put all this together. Happy Halloween. I hope you have a great weekend, everybody. That's it for us this week. I'm Chris Glover. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you back here next week. But for now, we'll leave you with some shots of the full moon. Technically, it's tomorrow, but great to check out the nights before and after as well. A nice vibe as so many people get set to celebrate Halloween this weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week.